In this video, the Dean of Valuation analyzes the present market landscape, stating that the market is richly priced, but not in a bubble territory. He raises concerns about the sustainability of the recent impressive returns and advises a cautious investment strategy, considering the risk associated with holding cash amidst substantial market growth over the past 2 years.
Steve, would you differentiate for us between Nvidia on the one hand and Broadcom on the other, and why people have become so currently excited with Broadcom? The numbers, the earnings, the report this week, good.
Right.
Not kick-ass great, but
well, there was
good.
also this report earlier in the week that Broadcom's working with Apple now to help them do some artificial intelligence chips. So it's a different, yes, to your point, Nvidia makes those GPUs, they're more expensive, but Broadcom has become this player that companies go to. Google, by the way, is using Broadcom to make their artificial intelligence chips as well. Now, reportedly, Apple is getting in on that as well. That makes it really exciting. And these are, of course, the ones that run in the servers for training their AI models. What's really interesting about Apple, at least what we've learned so far, what they've publicly disclosed so far, they've been using these alternative chips to train their Apple Intelligence stuff. They've been using chips from Amazon. They've been using chips from Google, which, by the way, like I said, Broadcom has a hand in helping make those. What they haven't been doing is running out there like Microsoft and Meta have been doing, and Google to some extent, buying up gobs and gobs and gobs of Nvidia chips and putting them in a server farm somewhere and training their AI models. They've been renting these other alternative chips. That doesn't mean they're not using Nvidia, but it does mean, at least what they publicly disclosed, they're looking at these alternatives, and it's pretty impressive. They've been able to do this and launch Apple Intelligence in the way they have without spending as much as some of the rivals have.
Although, Gene, I wonder if that is because it's not as high stakes for them. I mean, in a way, the Apple Intelligence features on my phone don't seem quite as, and they're still using ChatGPT to power Siri searches, which goes back to that company's usage of NVIDIA chips. Do you think we're going to be in this land grab, this arms race of continuing to build bigger and bigger data centers for the next few years' time, or do you think we're starting to pivot, and is that what's helping Broadcom?
We're not even started. I think on the land grab and the data center side, the Broadcom guidance, I think, just reinforces that this still is going to continue. And you go down the list of companies, liquid companies like Vertiv, and what their expectations are. I do want to mention something. Steve brings up a good point about Apple and what they're spending on the infrastructure. I just want to put on the record that there's something new that came up on my checklist after Broadcom last night related to Apple as I think about their next earnings call. And that's how much they're spending on CapEx. So Apple's going to spend about $10 billion this year. The rest of MegaCap is going to spend on about $55 billion. But they've now talked about buying custom silicon from Trainium and Amazon. They've talked about, they haven't talked about, but as Steve mentioned, it's inferred that they're going to be doing something here with Broadcom. It feels like Apple wants to bring more of their AI destiny back into their hands. Even though it's consumer, it's not as industrial strength as what some of these other companies are doing. I think that's a really important shift that I'm noting here, and I wonder what that's going to do to CapEx.
Reaction, Steve?
Yeah, and I think, but to your point, so Apple Intelligence just put out their biggest update yet so far with ChatGPT on there. None of this matters what we're talking about unless it moves iPhones and gets people upgrading. And again, we look at all the estimates for what this quarter. This is the biggest quarter every year, of course, the holiday season for Apple. It's their fiscal Q1, and we're not seeing much evidence that it is driving sales so far. Maybe that changes this week and people start running out there to get ChatGPT on their phone. I've been using it since this new update launched. Not super impressive. And also, there's a lot of mistakes. Keep in mind, this is still a beta product, and it's not exactly convincing people to run out there and use it. BBC just a few hours ago put out a story saying that the summaries of Apple Intelligence put out some fake news about Luigi Mangione, the alleged shooter in the case, saying that he shot himself. And it was summarizing a BBC notification about him. So you can see it's not perfect yet. You can see it's not there yet. It is really interesting how Apple is able to still get this off the ground and still able to do it with just dramatically less CapEx.
Absolutely.
We're gonna see Microsoft, $20 billion at least a quarter. And then let's not sleep on XAI, which just had another huge fundraise, $6 billion on top of what it raised earlier this year to just really step on the gas out there in Memphis, Tennessee and build their data center.